welcome to this week's product review. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing for you all the new Hourglass Seamless Finish Foundation Stick. Now this foundation launched mid-July. It comes in 26 different shades, which is quite a good range of shades, and it retails for $46 both online and in stores. It can be found at Sephora, Nordstrom, and at hourglasscosmetics.com. Now the claims on this are just extraordinary, which is why I wanted to go ahead and try it for you all. It claims to be a revolutionary new formula that is supposed to have the coverage of a concealer, the fluidity of a liquid, the weightlessness of a powder, and it's long wearing, waterproof. It has a bunch of different claims. Additional featured benefits that are directly on the website state that you are also able to use this foundation as a concealer, so it's kind of like a 2-in-1. It also claims to provide up to 12 hours of full coverage. It's vegan, and it also claims to adjust to your body's temperature in order to more easily blend it into the skin. So it comes in a 0.25 ounce tube, which is like a quarter of the size that you would normally get with any other foundation or with most foundations. I believe the standard size for foundations is 1 ounce, so you're only getting a quarter of that. But because it is full coverage, it does state on the website that a little goes a long way. We shall see exactly what kind of coverage this gives us throughout the day and after initial application and all of that. I grabbed the shade Nude to try out for you all today. The packaging, as you would expect from a high-end foundation or a high-end brand, is pretty luxurious. It looks pretty sturdy. It comes in this like triangular shaped tube. So I thought that that was pretty cool, pretty interesting way of packaging this. Now, also directly on the website, one thing that I read that I was like, really, was that it is designed specifically to be used with the Vanish Seamless Finish Foundation brush. Now, this brush retails for $46, so I would not only have to spend the $46 on the foundation, but also the $46 on the brush. I went ahead and I skipped out on that since I already own my Sigma Flat Kabuki brush. This is an oldie but goodie. It is a very dense brush that I use sometimes for foundation. I switch between this one and my beauty blender. So for today, I am going to be using this brush instead of theirs. Since I did look at it online, it did look like a pretty dense brush. It was just at an angle and it just looked a little bit more round instead of flat like this one is. So I figured that I would probably get a similar finish from my trusty F80. So yeah, let's just go ahead and apply it with that. Since this foundation does claim to be able to be used as a concealer, I'm going to be concealing with it today, and I'm going to be treating it just like any other concealer of mine. So I am going to be color correcting the under eye area in order to conceal on top of that. So I'm going to go ahead, apply some makeup onto the eye area, and then come back when it's time for foundation. So I will be right back. Okay, so now I am back with some eye makeup and some color corrector on. Now it is time to apply the foundation slash concealer. I did read through the website and it does state that a little goes a long way. So I'll be pretty careful with how much I apply, but of course I am expecting full coverage. So let's see how it applies. I'm going to start with the cheek area and a swipe here. I mean, that should be more than enough. And I don't know if I matched my skin correctly. I don't have any primer or anything on the skin like that. It is simply just going to be the foundation on the skin. So I can tell you right off the bat that it is lightweight. I don't feel like I'm really rubbing much or anything onto my skin, really. So it is really lightweight. As far as it being full coverage, though, I don't know. At least not with the few swipes that I gave my cheek. Just because I always measure full coverage based on whether or not I can still see like these little tiny veins that I have going on my cheeks. And I'll zoom you all in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So I don't know if you can see them, but I have like little veins. And so here I can't really see them a whole lot, but I can still see them very little here. So I mean, not intense full coverage. So yeah, is it lightweight? Absolutely. Does it blend really well? It actually really does. I think I matched myself pretty well. I like the way that it's blending with this brush. I'm not having any issues with it whatsoever. And just a little bit on the forehead. Definitely like the way that it applies. Definitely applies really lightweight. It feels really lightweight, so it doesn't feel like I have pretty much anything on the skin. This feels really, really, really nicely on the skin, so it doesn't feel too heavy for the amount of coverage that it's giving. So I definitely like that. Now moving on to the under eye area. And instead of blending it out with my brush, I'm actually going to be blending it out with my beauty blender. And I am going to be setting it because I'm almost 100% certain that it will crease on me. So I'm just going to, I don't know, I guess swipe a few times. And I like that it is in a triangle shape because then you can definitely get like in the inner corners of the under eye area without an issue. So that, I don't know if that was the reason behind the design, but it definitely worked in my favor. And now I'm just going to blend it out. It looks pretty good. I can't say that it's giving me complete coverage underneath the eye, but then again, I do have kind of intense pigment along the under eye area. Okay, and like I mentioned before, I am going to be setting it because I am pretty sure it will crease on me if I don't. So just taking a really, really small amount of my loose powder and just setting that under eye area in place. Okay, so it's okay. I'm going to give you guys a close-up underneath the eye so that you see exactly what it looks like right now after initial application. So as you can see, I mean, it's not very high full coverage. I can definitely see my dark circles here. I can definitely see them a little bit over here. But I mean, for what it is, which is the 2-in-1, it's looking okay. It's not disappointing me too greatly, at least not right now. And it feels really lightweight, so I definitely appreciate that. Okay, so now that I am done with the foundation and the concealing portion of it, I'm going to go ahead, finish off the rest of my makeup, and I will be right back. Okay, so now I am back with a full face of makeup, and I'm liking the foundation portion of it, not the concealer side of it, but definitely the foundation portion of it. I like the way that it applied. I like the way that it does feel really, really lightweight on the skin. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing a whole lot of anything, and it is covering up quite a bit. I can't say that it's covering up all of my imperfections, but it's definitely covering them up. I would venture to say, just off of initial application and initial thoughts, that this, in my opinion, isn't full coverage. It's more like medium to full coverage, because I think that I could have definitely used more of the foundation along the cheeks, because I do kind of see some of the stuff that I usually try to cover up or conceal. Yeah, I see that peeking through quite easily. Those are just my initial thoughts. It is currently 11:50, so I will see you all in a few hours for a midday check-in. Okay, so I'm back for a midday check-in. It is currently 4:42. So I've had this on for almost about 5 hours, roughly. And I mean, the foundation is fine. It's nothing too incredibly great, I guess you could say. As far as it being a good concealer, it is definitely not. It's not good for concealing at all, not in my opinion and not for me. It really definitely looks very dry underneath the eye area, and I do have a little dry patch underneath this eye that I've been dealing with for the last couple of days. And now that I have this concealer on, now that it's set and it's been on for a few hours, you can definitely see that dry spot like a lot. Yeah, so that's definitely a downside. It leads me to believe that if you have any dry spots within your face, then it's going to really make them noticeable, because to me, this spot here that's dry underneath my eye is definitely really noticeable. So I'm going to zoom you all in so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about as far as how it's wearing underneath the eye. Not a really big fan of that. And as far as the coverage on my face, it's fine. Like I said, it's not anything that I'm like so wowed by, or that I really think it's going to make a huge difference in my makeup routine, especially for the price point and for the type of like luxury item that it is, because Hourglass is a luxury brand or high-end brand, whatever you want to call it, or however you want to refer to it as. It's an expensive product for what it is, and especially for it being just the 0.25 ounces. pretty pricey if you ask me. There are a lot of other foundations that I personally feel just perform better that are a lot less or a lot lower in price point, like the L'Oreal Pro Matte, like the Estee Lauder Double Wear, like the Milani 2-in-1, just to name a few. So that, yeah, I mean, I was expecting to like it a little bit more than what I do at this point, but yeah, that's all I got for now. Let me zoom you all in so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about underneath the eye area. Okay, so as you can see, there's a dry spot underneath this eye that I'm dealing with that you can definitely look at now. In my opinion, it also looks really dry underneath the eye area, and it creases. It definitely does crease. Okay, so that is it for a midday check-in. I'll see you all here in a few hours for, you know, the end of the day final check-in. Okay guys, so now I am back with my final check-in. It is currently 7:20, so I'm just gonna go ahead and call it a night and wash all of this off. Yeah, my opinion hasn't really changed a whole lot in the last couple of hours, the last 2 or 3 hours of wearing this. I'll zoom you all in so that you can get a better look at the foundation, how it's wearing on my skin as of right now after about, you know, roughly almost 8 hours of wear. Okay, so as you can see, it's medium coverage. I call it medium coverage because I can really see, you know, all of the imperfections along my cheek area that I wanted to conceal. I can already see them, and it's only been like the 8 hours. It claims to be a 12-hour foundation, so I really didn't expect that after, you know, the 8 hours. And also you can really see like my freckles that are here on the nose area. So yeah, it doesn't really cover up for the entire full 12 hours. In my opinion, it really doesn't. As for the concealer part, like I said, it just looks really dry. This dry patch that I had here, it's just very, very apparent. And like I mentioned earlier, it leads me to believe that if you have any dry patches along the face to deal with, that this foundation would really make them obvious. Like it would make those dry patches really, really obvious because it made this one look really, really obvious. So didn't really care too much for that. Like I mentioned, there's a lot of creasing underneath the eye area, and it doesn't really do a whole lot as far as concealing. So overall, would I recommend this product? I guess it just depends. Let's just put it this way. If you're asking me whether I would repurchase it or not, I would tell you no. I personally would not repurchase it just simply because, you know, it is on the pricier side. And I mean, I understand it's a luxury or high-end item, so I understand the price for that. However, I cannot justify the price for what it did for me. And yeah, those are my honest thoughts on the foundation for today's review. And thank you all so much for watching. I truly hope that you enjoyed this video and that you found it helpful in some way. As always, take care, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.